Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, as you've seen by the title, we are doing a classic reading wrap up for the month of May. It's such a successful reading month. I have a huge pile of books here and I think I had 2 or 3 on my Kindle. I have my Goodreads up here on my laptop and yeah, let's just get started. So the first book that I read or finished in May was The Great Alone by Kristen Hannah. This was absolutely amazing. This was 5 stars. I've never read a book by Kristen Hannah before. I started this on audiobook one day. The next day I got the book and I could not put it down. This is kind of an historical fiction book set in the 70s about this family that have a really kind of tumultuous relationship. Parents especially. It's a mom, dad and our main girl Lenny, or Leonora I think her full name is. And basically they move to Alaska to start a new life. They're living off the grid. There's a romance in this, there's coming of age, there's search up trigger warnings because it's quite sad and quite dark, but absolutely phenomenal. Like one of my new favorite books ever. So that really started off the month well. Really did a 180 and read Night Shift by Annie Crown. A lot of these are in a video that I was trying to read 5 books in 5 days. If you've seen that, don't worry, I won't go too crazy in depth into these, but I read this first. This was so much fun. It is such a lighthearted, fluffy, silly rom-com. Our main girl Kendall works in a library. Vincent Knight is our main male character. He ends up going into the library. She like tutors him. It's a whole thing, but it's really cute and I really enjoyed it. No depth here, just vibes. But the vibes were great and I gave it a 4 stars. Then I read Wild Love by Elsie Silver and honestly I didn't love this. It was fine. I love her writing. Yeah, it was grand. Like there's nothing, I don't think I'll ever think about it again basically. But it is about Ford Grant. He's a billionaire. It's a single dad romance and like Rosie, is it Rosie? Yeah, he's like loved Rosie his whole life. It's his brother's little sister, so like brother's best friend trope for Rosie. That makes sense. But even though this is quite a long book, like I think it's like over 400 pages, there wasn't a lot of depth to it. And I know for this one I said there's no depth, but I knew there wouldn't be. But this one, I don't know, for what they were talking about and stuff, I thought there'd be a bit more. I don't know. And after that, we have Hate Mail by Donna Marchetti. I was really enjoying this, but then, I don't know, I think the reasoning for the kind of conflict in this book, not even conflict, but like we're trying to figure something out the whole time. It was just a bit, I was like, oh, I don't know, it just didn't make sense to me. I just didn't really like it. Obviously these books are not meant to be realistic, but sometimes I'm just like, come on. Basically this book is really funny. Basically our 2 main characters have been pen pals since they were in school, and I think it was for like 10 years they were writing to each other, which I think is so fun. But then one day our male main character stops writing to her. Luca stops writing to Naomi and she's like, why do you do that? And then all of a sudden, a few years later, he sends her a letter. And we're trying to figure out why he stopped writing, what happened, all that stuff. And yeah, they've never met and eventually they do. Yeah, it was fun. I gave this a 3 stars. I'd probably give it like a 3.5. It was a fun time if you want a nice easy rom-com. Okay, I'm gonna do some other books before I go back to the ones I read in the 5 books in 5 days video, so it's not too repetitive. So later on, I read Collide by Bal Cabri. This was so good. I loved this. I gave this 4 stars. It is your classic like hockey romance. This is about Summer and Aiden and I loved this book. It was so fun. I loved it. Basically, absolutely loved it. I can't wait for the next one. It is about Summer and she hates hockey so much, but she is in college to be a sports psychologist and she is tasked with doing this type of project where she has to work with a hockey player. She hates hockey players, and basically she has to work with Aiden, who is the captain. I wouldn't say it's an enemies to lovers, you know, that's more of a fantasy type thing, but they don't love each other, then they end up loving each other. You know the vibe, it's a romance book. But I absolutely loved this. I think, I had such a fun time. 4 stars, maybe 4.5, I don't know, but I would really recommend this. Okay, then I read The Cheat Sheet. So I got this notion where I was like, I want to finish some books that have been on my Kindle forever, and I've had the cheat sheet on my Kindle since I first got it, like 2 years ago. Where is my Kindle so I have something to hold? Here. So I read the cheat sheet on my Kindle and I actually really enjoyed it. It was definitely a cringe, very unserious vibe. Yeah, I surprisingly liked this a lot more than I thought. I think I've just really been craving these really mindless sports romance. I've been all about the sports romance at the moment, and this was really fun. It wasn't a college sports romance. They're both like out of school, and I can't remember our main characters' names, hold on. But basically, yeah, so Brie is our female main character. She used to be a ballet dancer. She was like trying to be professional and stuff, but unfortunately she had this accident where she couldn't pursue it anymore. And her best friend is Nathan. Her and Nathan were best friends for years, like in school and everything. But then after her accident, they kind of just stopped talking for a while. So there had been this rift in their friendship. They do end up coming back together as friends later on, where Nathan is a professional football player, American football player, and Brie has like a dance studio, and they are such good friends. They're both madly in love with each other, but apparently neither of them know, where, you know, it's so obvious. And basically they have this kind of thing where they have to end up in a fake dating situation, and it was just really fun. All the classic cheesy cliches that you want in like a fake dating, friends to lovers, kind of like let's get the girl type of vibe. It was so fun. I really enjoyed it. I give it a 3.5, 4 stars. I really had a great time. And yeah, I think it was just a classic. I know a lot of people didn't love it, and like, yeah, it wasn't a masterpiece, but I had fun. I was really sick when I was reading it, so it just got me through. And yeah, it was just cheesy, but in the best way. Then I read a bigger book. I read Say You Swear by Megan Brandy, or Megan Brandy, I'm not sure how we say that, but this surprised me a lot. I had so much fun. It is the most Wattpad thing you're gonna read. Some of it I was like, ugh. I didn't adore the ending, but I still loved this. Like, I didn't know how to feel about it, especially if you've seen the video where I read it in. The last video I've mentioned like 30 times in this video already, but I had a really good time. I give this like a 4.5. It is just, I don't know, it was the perfect summer book. If you want a mindless kind of crazy Wattpad summer book, this is like what I think the Summer I Turned Pretty books were trying to do. No slander for that show. The show is so good, but I didn't love the books, and this like has the, like, this is the vibes. The summer vibes. It's also a college romance. Perfect for this time of year. If you're gonna read this or give it a try, because I know there's so many mixed reviews about it, and I totally understand it. I see why you could hate it, but you just have to go in so unserious. Do not expect anything crazy, and just go in for the fun times and like the ridiculousness of it, and you'll love it. I loved this. There's like a beach town, there's college, there's sports, love triangle, drama. Yeah, really fun. And I know it's quite long, it seems intimidating, but it flew by. I highly recommend. Then I read Carrie Soto's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I can't believe that it took me so long to read this. I had the best time. Her writing is just so immersive, so easy to get into. It's just great. I loved this. How did she make me love a book about tennis so much? I have no idea. But I read this in one sitting. It was so good. I would highly recommend reading this. All of her books are just so easy to get into. It follows Carrie Soto, and she was like an amazing tennis player, and years later after she retired, there's another girl threatening to take her title. Like, she's getting really good, and Carrie's like, no, I'm not having that. She goes out of retirement literally to just get that world title back, or whatever it is, and just be the best player of all time. But there's like a deeper message to it. There's such a lovely relationship with her dad, such a lovely relationship just with, I don't know, like really discussing what's important in life and, you know, how those views change as you get older. And yeah, I would really recommend anyone to read this. I really, really had fun. Don't let the tennis talk intimidate you. I still know nothing about tennis after this, but I still had a great time. So I don't know, just don't go in trying to analyze the tennis talk. I just kind of went over a lot of it. She talks with the rules and stuff. I was like, yeah, fun. I don't really care, but it didn't hinder my experience. I just read it and I still loved it. So I would recommend, as I would all of her books. Really, really good. Okay, 2 more. These ones are really random. So there was this one book I wanted off my TBR for so long. Like, I've had it for years, and it was on sale on Audible. So I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold by, okay, moment please, Toshikazu Kawaguchi. And yeah, this was fine. I give this 3 stars. It actually did have good messaging to it, like the meaning and the depth to it was very sweet, but it was so repetitive and it just took a really long time for me to get into it. I'm glad that I was finally able to just get this off my TBR, because I don't know, does anyone else have just this one book that's just bugging you that it's still on your TBR, like you just want it done? And I hate that feeling, because when I first got it I wanted to read it so bad, but I tried to start it a bunch of times and I could never get into it. It took so long. But the audiobook helped. It's a very short book. I think it was like a 4-hour audiobook. If you put the speed up, I still understood the whole thing. I got the message of it, but by God, this was repetitive. But I do understand why people would love it. The messaging was stunning and it was really, really sweet, like heartfelt, and it did like pull at my heartstrings, but it was just too repetitive. Yeah. Okay, finally, this is the most random thing ever. The last book that I read. So as I said, I was trying to get books that I've had on my Kindle for so long read and off my TBR. So I read Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like an OG book talk book. I have no idea how to feel. It was like so bad but so fun, like the trashiest thing ever. Basically, this girl, her boyfriend's a bit of just he's the worst. So what does she do? She gets with her boyfriend's dad, her ex-boyfriend's dad. But it was like really good. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like icky saying that, but like if you want like a super trashy book talk book, give it a try. That's all I can say. But I don't know, I feel like if you could ignore the age gap and the fact that it's her ex's dad, then it was good. That's the thing, I could ignore that. But really, ethically, if I'm recommending this to you, most people aren't just going to ignore that. But if you're reading it, just try to ignore that for the time being. Have fun while you read it, and then after you can be like, what did I just read? But if you're looking for fun, like that was pure entertainment. It was interesting. It was so entertaining. I think I'm gonna do a video where I just read these like OG, like outrageous book talk books, because I never got on that train. So yeah, do you know like those crazy like Punk 57, like all them, basically Penelope Douglas, because it wasn't as outrageous as I thought it would be. Like the age gap and stuff, somehow she didn't make it too outrageous. Like she didn't make it too ridiculous. Like you could pretend that there wasn't a big age gap. But yeah, I'm gonna stop because this makes me sound like crazy. I know some people actually adore this book. Like it's got a 3.94 rating on Goodreads, which is not bad. But yeah, that was literally the only way I could describe this book. Oh my God, it got a good Goodreads Choice Award. Yeah, but basically this was a fever dream. It was a fever dream that I had fun with, but it just wasn't real. That's not real. Yeah. it has really good reviews. I have no idea how to describe that. But yeah, that rounded off my May reading month. It was a wild ride, but I don't know if you could tell, I had literally the most fun. Like, I had such a fun month. I read a lot of books. They were all like so different. It was like a wave, but I had such a good time. I thoroughly enjoyed every single book. I haven't done a reading wrap up in a while. I have read a lot of good books over the past few months, so I might do a kind of bigger wrap up soon with the books I've read kind of just recently. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I had a great time talking about these because not all of them were in videos, and honestly the ones that I really enjoyed, some of them I wish I had videoed them, but I think I had such a fun time just by myself being immersed in the stories and just loving them, and I'm sure I'm going to talk about them a lot more, especially The Great Alone, things like that. But I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Also, let me know what books that you read in May and what books you really loved or books that you hated. If you've read any of these, let me know what you think. I always want to know. Always open for fun discussions, whether you agree, whether you disagree, all that fun stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye.